Hi, I'm Tracy Chapman. I'm a journalism history major in my senior year at University of Memphis, and I chose to review A Bridge Too Far. A Bridge Too Far was published in 1974 and is the final work of a man who witnessed and reported on war at an early age and who dedicated the rest of his life to sharing what serving in war was really like. Cornelius Ryan was an Irish journalist who became a war correspondent for the Daily Telegraph in 1941. He was only 24 years old at the time the battles he became obsessed with happened. D-Day in June 1944 and Operation Market Garden launched in September 1944. Ryan would go on to write The Longest Day and A Bridge Too Far, both celebrated books later made into popular films. While these two books and others Ryan wrote detailed battles and complex strategies, those were a subplot to him. What I write about is not war, but the courage of man. He is one of the things that drew me to A Bridge Too Far. It's not a short read at about 670 pages or an easy one because Operation Market Garden, the offensive the book details, was so complex. But it's a book I highly recommend, not only because it gives details about an operation unknown by many people, but also because it's the story of a failed mission that had the greatest promise and truest ambitions. It's a story of what could have been as much as what was, and it's truly a story of both loss and heroism that to me marked what World War II is all about. Ryan's work as journalist shines throughout A Bridge Too Far because he does what all good reporters do, tells both sides of the story. Ryan doesn't just tell the Ally story, but also includes information he obtained through interviews with German soldiers and leaders, as well as Dutch civilians and others involved in Market Garden aftermath. Operation Market Garden was actually comprised of two offensives launched from September 17 through September 25, 1944, and held the distinction of being the largest airborne operation ever launched up to that point. Market was the airborne forces, more than 34,600 of them, dropped behind enemy lines, while Garden were the ground forces, the British XXX Corps. Market Garden was the brainchild of British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Montgomery's plan was to strike deep in occupied Holland, basically encircling the Ruhr, the center of German industry. Airborne forces would secure bridges across the Maas, the Waal, and Lower Rhine rivers and several small tributaries and canals. XXX Corps' ground troops would then arrive to help hold the bridges, preparing to use them for a major push into Germany itself. The book's title wasn't a postscript after a failed operation. There were doubts about the plan from the start, most notably from British Lieutenant General Frederick Browning, who told Montgomery before Market Garden even launched, "I think we may be going a bridge too far." Market Garden's issues were many, perhaps most significant communication problems and a near impossible timetable. Airborne troops were charged with capturing bridges in Eindhoven, Arnhem, and Nijmegen, Dutch cities deep behind German lines. To get there, XXX Corps had to travel 64 miles in 2 to 3 days. While that doesn't sound all that difficult, this was a time of war and destruction in a place occupied by the Germans. And while Allied intelligence thought enemy troops weren't massed in the area, there was actually a Panzer division that hadn't been detected. That was only the beginning of the operation's problems. While there were amazing displays of courage by the Polish, American, and Dutch forces, weather delays, misunderstandings, communication breakdowns, and poor timing led to more than 6,000 of 10,000 troops that landed in Arnhem on September 17th being killed or captured. This was an operation that Montgomery hoped would end the war by Christmas 1944. A noble goal, but a futile one. Market Garden's complete failure and the loss of such a large force in its execution meant the Allies wouldn't cross over the Rhine until March 1945. A Bridge Too Far is a detail in failure, but it is also a story about the perseverance of the human spirit, and in that is Ryan's greatest strength, I believe. The reader learns more than Montgomery's battle aspirations. More importantly, there are the people who lived and died while trying to fight for an ideal I think we sometimes forget today. When you think about the fact this took place more than 72 years ago, time of my parents, before computers, but as Nazis were exterminating more than 6 million Jews not far away. It's humbling. The Dutch have not forgotten the efforts of the Allies during those long September days. The Bridget Arnhem, defended by Major General John Dutton Frost and his men, was later renamed the John Frost Bridge. Sadly, Cornelius Ryan died from cancer at the age of 54, not long after finishing A Bridge Too Far. While I would encourage everyone to read this wonderful book, there is also a 1977 movie based on it and directed by Sir Richard Attenborough. It drew mixed ratings, but I really enjoy the movie as well, although the story is too big and too complicated for anyone